Welcome back, everyone. Over to you, Derek.
Thank you, Rory. And hello, everyone. Good day. And welcome to the right asset at the right time creates the right customer experience with Salesforce. This is track 2. If you're looking for track 1 and Stanley Security's DAM journey to achieve global brand consistency and put the customer first, head over to track 1. So first, I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Gayathri Geetha. And Gayathri is leading product management for Salesforce CMS, obviously a very relevant vendor and a very relevant product for that vendor in this market. And Gayathri's previous experience building digital consumer products, I think really positions her well for this important, I'd say critical role for Salesforce. So Gayathri, welcome. And let me turn it over to you and we'll get started.
Right, thank you, Derek. I'm so excited to be here. Hello, everyone. So as Derek mentioned, I'm Gayathri Geetha. My team, Salesforce CMS, we are part of Experience Cloud. And Experience Cloud is Salesforce's digital experience platform. And today I'm so excited to talk to you about this subject. This is a subject very close to my heart, how a marketer can evolve their content strategy to deliver these consistent multi-channel experiences so that they can get the right asset at the right time. So let's think about the next 2 years. I mean, we're here, after all, Derek, in a conference on a virtual platform as opposed to being there in person. But I think COVID has been so transformational and nothing more so than for digital. At Salesforce, we've seen digital experiences accelerating by quite a bit over the last couple of years. And digital is now mission critical. Because what our customers, different brands are realizing is they have to reimagine the entire customer journey online because of the macroeconomic conditions. So think about somebody like a bank. In the past, pre-COVID, they had their customers engage with them, of course, through their banking portal and maybe through their website or mobile app if they had one. But at the same time, they could always come by into the office to conduct their transaction, into a banking office to conduct the transaction. They didn't have that luxury anymore when COVID hit. And so what digital leaders were looking to do is get really creative. And there were 3 key trends we were seeing. So the first one was they wanted to build experiences and get to market really fast. So speed was super, super critical. And of course, a big part of this was happening pre-COVID as well, but especially because of the macroeconomic conditions, it was really the key for them to survive and thrive. The second piece was all about powering experiences with data, with your business processes. Nobody wants to sit at the other end of a service line waiting for hours for a customer service agent to pick up the phone. They want to conduct their business right there. Similarly, you don't have the luxury of waiting for your email to get responded to in 3 to 5 days. So making sure that whatever experiences they were building, they were able to accomplish or transform and think about how to accomplish the business processes they do offline, online was super critical. And last but not the least, it was not about just building one website or building a mobile app or one storefront. It was about reimagining your entire customer's journey. Everything from your awareness to acquisition to commerce to loyalty, the whole cycle had to be reimagined online, and you had to connect every touch point. So that was a huge, huge surge for digital transformation. And so on the other end, if you look at the customers, we found that on an average, a customer engages with your brand maybe on 5 different channels. Maybe they are finding something on your corporate website, purchasing something on your storefront, and then maybe leaving a review for it on social media and so on, right? So at least on an average, customers engage on 5 different channels. And more so than ever, brands that got this right and built connected digital experiences stood out compared to brands who had this patchwork of solutions and it was disconnected. And customers expected consistent interactions across these different departments, and they would leave your brand if you don't have these type of consistent interactions. So let's think about this. How can companies adapt and build out this sort of connected digital experience across all their channels? How can they reimagine this? What should they be thinking about? Well, I think it all starts with content, honestly, because content is the conversation you're having with your customer. From the time that a customer is, reading about your brand on social media or maybe through an email, to the time that they are probably looking for specs and reviews and other user-generated content for your product on social media, to the time they're purchasing to service. Really, it's all about making sure that you're able to build out content and have that connected conversation with your customer. But building this type of content is easier said than done. More so than ever, from a marketer point of view, these last few years, we've really been seeing a lot of challenges when it comes to content creation. The first one is, ever increasing content demands. Personal fun fact here, I was house hunting these last couple of years for a house during COVID. And, any house that had a virtual walkthrough or it had a video was a winner in my book, because I couldn't just go in and see the house. Open houses were a thing of the past. And so there is so much more content demand. In fact, since the COVID-19 pandemic, video streaming has jumped up 113%. I mean, that's amazing. And so that was something that marketers had to take into account and generate more content, more so than ever before. The second aspect is the continued rise of user-generated content, right? I can't remember the last time I purchased a product without looking at an Amazon review or looking at what my favorite blogger is talking about it on YouTube. And so user-generated content, videos, these are pretty critical, more so than brand content, right? So I almost feel like brand content and user-generated content have to be both part of your content strategy as you're evolving that. And the next piece was all around emerging tech. I think using your Alexa to order something from your store, or being able to use your Apple Watch for notifications for when a package is due. There's so much different new tech right now. And it's not just about the traditional, website, email, mobile, that are certainly critical, but it doesn't end with that. And there's going to be more and more channels to consume this content as well. And you may be thinking, okay, but my company is a B2B company, so I should be fine, right? But that's not right. We have all the B2B companies also affected by expectations like B2C, because a number of transactions start online, a number of customers turn to social media to understand more about your product before they buy that. So all this is to say that when a marketer thinks about their content strategy, they need to think about delivering content at scale. And when they're thinking about delivering content and scale, they need to rethink their content process. I mean, it's mission critical now. So what do we mean by rethinking their content process? So if you think about the past, where you may have more channel-oriented content, now you need to think about omni-channel content. So it's no longer about serving one specific part of your customer journey. It's about serving the entire customer journey. Think about, where instead of content being siloed and only restricted to one specific website or mobile app, they need to think about a more centralized approach. It's super critical to do that because, what we've heard time and again is there's this huge demand. My marketing team has a lot of parallel and overlapping efforts. They don't get to reuse the same content across different channels. That's adding so much pressure and bottlenecks, and creating a lot of inconsistency, right? And similarly, leading to a lot of manual efforts. So brands really need to think about how they reinvent, how they think about their content process, and think about it in a more omni-channel connected experience way. All right, so how are we solving for this at Salesforce? So at Salesforce, looking at these trends that are emerging, our approach is to create a unified digital experience platform. So at the, whichever part of the digital journey the customer is on, whether it's awareness or acquisition, onboarding, service, and loyalty, they have the same set of tools they have the same set of services, if you will, to go ahead and build this out, the same set of services to personalize this, the access to the same set of CRM data and business processes. So we want to unify this and build out such a solution. And for content, because content is a critical part of a DXP, for content, this is why we've introduced a solution called Salesforce CMS, which my team leads. So Salesforce CMS is a hybrid content management system where a customer is able to easily create, author, and manage content. It provides every team, we really firmly believe that every team should be a content team, so they can generate content, so they can all create it through easy to use tools. They have predefined templates. Omnichannel is not an afterthought. It is out of the box. You're able to create this content and then syndicate it to any channel you want. And last but not the least, it's also connected it's built on top of the Salesforce platform. So if you want to personalize it using customers' engagement, customers' interaction, you're able to do that. If you want to share any interactions they have done with marketing, so then you can build out a marketing email or a journey based on that. We've done that. So it's all about making sure that there is a unified set of tools and processes in place to power your entire customer's digital journey. All right, so this is a piece that I very firmly believe in, the ability to create content once and publish anywhere. So with Salesforce CMS, you're able to go ahead and create all of your content in one place. You're able to have your workflows for it, your approvals. And over the last couple of years, we've really integrated with every touch point you have, both within Salesforce and outside, right? So within Salesforce, if you're going ahead and creating a commerce storefront, maybe you want to enrich your products. If you're going ahead and building out a marketing email, or you're creating a portal, a customer portal, or a website, you're able to go ahead and just pick content from the system. Similarly, it's also headless, so it has all the APIs in place that's necessary to syndicate it to maybe an external channel. It could be a store kiosk, it could be your social channels, it could be any other place. And this is also where, when you think about digital asset management systems, for us, we firmly believe that partnerships with digital asset management systems like Binder is our way to win here. Because I think what Binder offers is a very easy way to create and manage these assets. And digital asset management is a huge problem, right? You have things to think about, like digital rights. You have to think about how to optimize it for different channels, how to reuse that content. And so making sure that Salesforce CMS works very well with Binder. We integrate today with Binder through URLs. And at the same time, partnerships with Binder to different places. We may have experiences built on Salesforce, like Marketing Cloud and Commerce Cloud, having the right connectors to it so customers can easily pick assets as they need for their different experiences has been very critical for us. So I do know, Derek, you're going to be talking about a specific customer later on. When is your session? I think it's
immediately after yours.
Oh, immediately after mine. Okay,
yeah,
great.
And it's fun because we're actually talking about Salesforce and we're talking about Binder in this instance. So it's very relevant, and it was kind of accidental that happened.
Yeah. So I think we've seen a number of shared wins. I'm sure your session is going to be deep diving into one of them or talking about that some more. But I wanted to show you an example of a manufacturing organization. So these folks are global leaders in manufacturing. They build out different solutions and systems for grain, feed, fertilizer, and so on. And they've effectively had a problem that we've seen from other customers as well, which is, they've developed a system over time. It's essentially a patchwork of different legacy solutions. It takes a long time to create content and then reuse it on all their different touch points. What they ended up utilizing Binder and Salesforce for was to come and create a central source of truth for their experience, for their assets, and make it very easy for all of their different content creators. They have different languages, different global markets they supported. So at any given point, somebody is able to come in and save time, because it's number one, central source of truth. Second, it's also very well integrated with all the other tools they may be using, whether it's their CMS tool or it's with the marketing cloud, which is what they integrate with here. And this really helps with promoting consistency. And one other thing that I remember distinctly this customer had was all around the risk exposure they had with respect to assets, right? So because they were serving so many different channels, so many different countries, it was a constant struggle to try and say, hey, this asset is only available for this channel, this asset is only available for this particular device, and so on. And so binders, permission, and rights management really helped solve for that.
Rights management is such an issue today, and just growing more and more complex. So integrations there are really key.
Yeah. So I think that's really how we view our world, where you're able to, I like to joke with the team that, CMS and DAM, they're like peanut butter and jelly, right? You cannot have one solution replace the other, but if you had something that is extensible enough and you're building your CMS, that it can partner really well, like it does with some other digital asset management systems, that is a really great overall holistic solution for the customer. And I think actually that's what I've had from a call
Wonderful.
to action. Yeah. If you guys are really interested in learning some of this, we definitely have a lot more resources. We can share out the deck as well.
Okay, and we've got a couple of good questions too. I wrote down a couple of things that came to mind as I was looking at your presentation before we did this, and then again today. But one great question here: given the pressures of increasing content across the board that DAM will need to handle, and the responsiveness that DAM needs to maintain to ensure a smooth user experience, right? So lots of content and responsiveness, keyword there. Is there still a primary need for local server DAMs? Should we just be looking to AWS and Salesforce to start with DAMs? All right, so there's a lot to unpack there, right? It's like that. I mean, if I could paraphrase for that questioner, do you really need a DAM today in addition to your Salesforce and your more DXP, or closer to the customer? How would you answer that? In your example, you actually had both. So
yeah, absolutely. So I think when I think about the value, if I look at digital asset management, there is the creative aspect of things, there's the organization and management, and then there's the delivery, right? I think in the question, they definitely said like, hey, delivery is all about, it's no longer about B2B scale delivery. It's all about B2C scale delivery. And that's where I think we've really invested at Salesforce, as well as any DAM partnerships we had, I'm sure, with like Binder and other DAMs. They've really been focused on making sure through CDN caching and through other techniques, we are able to scale and serve up the assets in the right place. But for digital asset management in general, there's definitely some very unique challenges, right? Like we spoke about digital rights and permissions. That's a huge issue that I think a lot of CMSs haven't really been focusing on, but DAMs have definitely, by the nature of the business with assets and everything else, really been focusing on. Similarly, when you think about rich assets, videos and lookbooks and all these types of things, streamlining the operations, workflows, those type of assets demand very specific, specialized flows that may be different from what a content management system offers. So which is why our strategy of, hey, we do what we are best at, which is managing content fragments, playing well with integrations, right? And we have partnerships like Binder, so we can plug in the creative and the organization and specific DAM use cases that they may need. I think we need both when we're handling that.
Yeah, I think actually that might lead right into one of my questions, and that is you described the Salesforce CMS as hybrid, right? And there's lots of terms get thrown around, acronyms all over our market, right? Can you help us for the users out there? What characteristics are causing you to call it a hybrid model? That's your CMS.
Yeah, that's a great question, Derek. So if you think about content management systems in the past, I would say these were all purpose built for a specific application, right? Like let's say you created a website or you created a blog with that, you could only serve the blog with that particular place. If you wanted to create a mobile app or you wanted to use that same content in a headless channel, for example, then you would have had to create a completely separate instance and then recreate that content or duplicate that content and reuse it there. What hybrid brings, and then on the other end of the spectrum for me are completely like headless systems, right? So these are things where you potentially need a developer to kind of go in and yes, it's great for content authoring, but then you lose some of the flexibility that you had with a legacy system around a marketer being able to preview very effectively, being able to have that easy WYSIWYG way of putting things together. And hybrid to me is kind of the best of both worlds, right? Where we offer you the solution where you're able to set up, you come in and you say like, hey, I want to set up a mobile app, or I want to set up a commerce storefront or a site. You have that ability to do that. But any piece of content you use within that experience is omni-channel, right? You are able to go ahead and syndicate it through APIs and through other means to your social media, to emails. So really that is where the power is, where a marketer is happy and developers are happy with the flexibility and customization they get.
Great. Yeah, and actually headless is another one of those terms that I'm going to talk a little bit about in the presentation that follows. We've got another question in here. One of the main things I use our DAM for is completed marketing materials, right? That's a easy use case for a DAM. Find it, that's your repository, right? Where your approved content goes. One question I get often is, in quotes, couldn't we just put all these flyers and presentation videos in Salesforce? So if I could paraphrase that question, it's similar to the question before it. Do I really need this DAM? Should I integrate the two? Should I just move this content right over to Salesforce? Perhaps you could talk a little bit about the characteristics that would have you put something in a DAM and integrate it versus just put it in Salesforce. Like, why would you do one versus the other?
Yeah. So the keyword that always comes to my mind is integrated, right? So if you look at any organization, they are going to have different sources for data. That is a given, different sources for content. So you could have user-generated content that's not even part of your system. You could have, like they said, like marketing pages, like flyers and documents and things that you may be hosting on a system. You may have, think about your website, right? You may have your pages, your static banners, your experience and content fragments that you host on another system. And for us, what we've seen is while customers do have multiple different things, and the reasons for investing in different solutions can be totally different, right? It's not about providing one unified, just one solution, like one solution fits all, but rather have a system that unifies different content sources. That is really the key to success, where you're able to ensure that any digital asset management tool you have, any content management tool you have, depending on the types of content needs that you have, they play well with each other, they play well with the channels that you're essentially serving. That is the most critical piece, right? And I think definitely, as the commenter called out, there's a plethora of solutions available today, both at Salesforce for, I would say, smaller, lightweight. I don't think Salesforce has a specific DAM, but we do offer like a lightweight file management solution. That in contrast with something that is much more enterprise grade digital asset management that has, check-in, check-out and versioning and workflows and digital rights and things like that. Right. Those are your needs. That's where you would look at those solutions and say like, okay, how can I use them in conjunction and complement each other?
So it goes back to Becky Caldwell's presentation earlier, just ahead of you on this track. Focus on the people, right? Focus on the use case, focus on the need. Don't focus on the technology, start with the people and what the actual need is, right? And then map it out accordingly. One more that I had that you talked about in your content process, you talked about automation, right? And I play an IT guy on TV at times and I love automation, but talk to me about some examples that you've got where you're providing content automation with your CMS, because I think to get to scale, right, we need automation if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this is where, different types of content need different types of automation. So for example, if you think about digital assets like images and you look at things like videos, making sure that you have a system where they're able to do things like automated tagging, right? Or they're able to also auto-generate content. That's really, wow, I had an entire different presentation on like different trends we're seeing on automation actually. But there's some very powerful things around.
You should share it. Share it
Yes.
in the notes.
Yeah, but what we're realizing, like I said, content at scale is very important, right? And so going from manual to automated means thinking about whether that solution offers capabilities around generating content. Like if I had, let's say, a website image, can it actually automatically generate a mobile image for me or a thumbnail for my social media, right? So this or gives me different like focal points and things like that. So I'm able to select the right asset, right? Similarly, if I think about the content, the omni-channel piece is also to some extent reusability and automation, right? So you're able to, go ahead and say like, hey, any content fragment that I have, does it support things like variants, where I'm able to automatically generate variants for my blog, for my mobile, for my desktop, and so on. So that is one way of thinking about it. The second piece, in fact, I think the one quote that I feel people should take away from here is that it's not about generating content, it's about having content intelligence, right? Because if you want to automate your content, you really almost need to think about what is some amount of intelligence you can actually build in generating it, what is some amount of intelligence you can build in serving that content to different people, right? So different aspects, kind of just vetting to see if whatever tools you're deciding on have all of that.
Yeah, somewhere back in history, I think intelligent content had a moment, a brief moment, but now actually it probably it applies, right, in this context. Let's see. It looks like that's about all the questions. I had one more because we've got a moment. You talk about e-commerce and some things, and I can draw a straight line from like DAM and e-commerce, a need, right? It's very easy for me. I have a harder time drawing a line from content to loyalty, and loyalty is on your workflow here off to the right. So can you talk to us a little bit about content and loyalty and what kind of use cases are there? Because that's a new one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So think about post-purchase, right? When you go ahead and maybe you're asking your lead to subscribe to a newsletter. This is all images and things you're using on an email. So if let's say you're upselling or cross-selling certain products, rather than duplicating that content over and over again, when you're creating that newsletter, how seamless would it be if you're able to just reuse that same asset and go ahead and just create that same experience, right? So you're able to locate what was used in your commerce campaign very easily, put it into an email, send it out. It's all about speed and being able to go ahead and do that. And like I said, with COVID, a number of these things have to be also reimagined, right? So things like, ratings and reviews and being able to get surveys and put that data back, all of that has to be reimagined with digital presence.
Excellent. Well, I think that is, oh, wait a second, I might have one more. Hold on, maybe a last minute. Okay, so I think that is it. Gayathri, thank you very much. I think this has been very helpful. This recording will be available online. And let's say, what am I supposed to say here? I'm supposed to say, join track 2 next to discover how to drive digital experiences with a headless DAM. That's with me, actually. And if you head over to track 1, you can learn about bridging the DAM with Deutsche LA. So Gayathri, thank you very much and have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Thanks,
all right,
everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. And thanks to our sponsor, Binder, as well.
Thank you.